It's a good day to be a gamer on Fragments of Silicon.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host Adam. Joining me, as always, are Petty Fan and Gollix, the guys would show up here every week.
We usually try to.
Well, I mean, I can't remember the last time you didn't,
Mhm.
so I think it's Nap's descriptor. Anyway, let's get to the news. Gollix, why don't you start us off this week?
Well, Metroid Dread came out, and I haven't had time to play it yet, but I got a pretty good experience of it by watching one of the people I watch online play through it in way less time than planned because he didn't want to wait to play it anymore. And it looks really good.
Oh, he dropped. That's wonderful.
Who dropped?
Gullux,
Spoil myself. Oh, crap.
you back?
Yep, sorry about that.
Uh,
Discord automatically updated or something, or else I accidentally clicked on it. Sorry.
It's fine.
How much did you get out of that?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
You talked about Metroid Dread watching a Let's Play, and
Yeah. I suppose technically I spoiled myself, but I kind of got to see it as it was coming along, kind of experienced it anyway, so that was... I didn't read about stuff first, so that's something
right.
that I ever care that much about spoilers. So, seems good. Looking forward to getting a chance to play that. It's definitely getting to be fall, but it's still in the part of fall where it's kind of warm.
I'm guessing Metroid Dread doesn't have anything extraordinary revelatory because I haven't heard about it from the hills.
Oh, there's some stuff.
No, I know. I'd imagine there is, but what I'm saying, it's not a Snape kills Dumbledore situation where, holy shit, you could not keep that under wraps if you tried once it got out.
Silence you. I just got it today.
You'll have to watch it or play it yourself. And yeah, I don't want to spoil too much for Petty Fan anyway.
I haven't seen it trended on fucking Twitter, which is more than I can say for certain things.
People have had pretty good self control about some of the stuff. Although there are certainly plenty of articles about explaining or spoiling the ending or whatever that I've seen, but I had to actually look for it.
But there's a difference, though. There's a difference between some articles going into what's in the game at a post launch and people screaming from the hilltops that certain shipping things happen, because they watch the episode in the middle of the fucking night. So
okay, now let's unwrap that there. If you're doing Metroid and you're doing shipping and you're not doing Smash Brothers where there are other actual characters in the game, who would you ship anyone with?
we can table that for later.
I'm just my point was that there's not likely to be shipping stuff happening in an actual Metroid game due to the lack of other characters.
Look, let's be honest here. That's going to happen no matter what. But
oh yeah, no, but not in the actual game.
We don't have time for this.
Yeah. Anyway, nothing else particularly interesting this week, I guess.
All right, Petty, you're up.
Stuff's been going relatively good so far. Like I said, I just got Metroid Dread in the mail today, so hooray! As far as other gaming stuff goes, I'm near the end of Sonic Colors Ultimate, though. I'm deciding.
Oh man, you haven't even had any seizures induced by glitches that are allegedly way easier to get than they actually are.
I actually got one of those glitches on accident.
Oh,
Yeah. And I
but
think
your
it
brain
actually...
didn't explode.
Yeah, this time. And yeah, still been doing the Digimon card thing. And also, the stuff for the Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, the Mediator embargo lifted, and oh boy, we gonna be having fun in November.
Hmm.
And I still need to put my money down on my pre-order for the collector's edition. But we'll get to that if my parents decide to pay me back soon. Other than that, not a whole lot's been going on.
All right, I guess it's my go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. There's certainly, it's not so much things happened; it's more the end of things happening this week.
The
As
resolutions have happened.
yes, indeed. Because on Saturday I got my laptop back. Like, uh,
Yay.
yes, the good news: the data, the data was preserved. The bad news, the programs weren't, which I was told about. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been spending the last 4, 5 days, however long it's been, re-downloading my at least a segment of my Steam library. It's like I don't think they've invented the hard drive yet that can contain the full force of 2,300 games. Like,
Hmm.
granted, some of them are really small, but some of them also clock in at 50 gigs.
Yeah.
So, still been a lot of downloading. I'm glad I have unlimited data and all that, because otherwise this would be a problem. Let's see. Also, in more frustrating news, I had to refund the Castlevania Advance Collection that I was looking forward to playing because it wasn't working on my laptop, and I don't know why.
Huh.
Like, it's like it would download, but it wouldn't install. It wouldn't unpack,
Mm.
and I'm not sure why. And quite frankly, I wasn't really in the mood to deal with that. I'll purchase it another month, let's say.
Does
Mm-hmm.
your computer not have like a native way of dealing with zip or RAR or whatever it was in?
It's through Steam. It
That,
should do it on its own.
It
yeah,
should.
it should, but it didn't. Or there might have been another problem. That's kind of the frustrating bit of PC gaming.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when something goes wrong, it might be one thing, it might be another. It's like I really didn't have the patience to fiddle around after
Turns
getting
out your third RAM stick just had a hangover that day.
point is I refunded the game,
Uh-huh.
rather than have $20 go to waste.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll repurchase it next month when I'm not, or maybe a month down the line after the repair bill's taken care of. Like, anyway, the point is it didn't work, so played some Alien versus Predator, like the 2010 version. That game is still mediocre at best.
Oof.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what my week has been. And yeah, I think that's about it for the news. So normally we shall roll along to the interview portion of the broadcast. And joining us this week is Celia Schilling of Yacht Club Games.
Hi, how's it going?
It goes well enough. How about you? How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just got off work and I'm excited to chat with you guys.
This is always good. Right. So how we like to get started is we ask this particular question. What got you interested in video games, both in a personal level and a professional level?
Oh, that's a very good question. Okay, what got me interested? I guess it's kind of one of those things of where like it was just given to me. It was like, here you go. And I was like, cool, I like this. It has like, it's video games. They're fun. I guess in particular, like when I was a kid, my older sister and I were given a Nintendo 64 with a Super Mario 64. And I remember coming home and seeing my parents like hooking it up and being like, "What is this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a Nintendo. It's a video game. Go check it out." And I was like, "Wow!" And then I played that game. Then we got Banjo-Kazooie, Ocarina of Time, and from there it was just like a love story with games. And then for as a career, I remember I went to a panel at WonderCon, and fun fact, it was a Nintendo panel. And I remember them talking about video games, and like the guy's like, I work directly for Nintendo, and I had this realization. I'm like, you can work in video games, and like obviously people make them. It's not like they poof here out of nowhere. But having that realization really, I guess, directed my path of focusing on video games since I loved it as a kid. Why not market something that I thoroughly enjoy? So from then on, I applied and got hired and worked in the video game industry.
Okay. Like,
Mhm.
got it. That's a path that's taken, but this particular route isn't like we don't get a lot of people who aspire to be in video game marketing, basically. So that's not unprecedented, but uncommon. Unless we're talking like the solo devs or the small teams that have to do that among their many hats.
Yeah, they're
Um,
not in marketing. They just do marketing also.
yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you're strapped for resources, you have to apply where applicable. Or
Yeah,
something
of
like
course. And if a studio needs to, once they've grown a little bit, yeah, definitely hire a marketing person so you can focus on developing the game and not worry about analytics.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And was Yacht Club your first video game job, as it were, or did you work elsewhere before ending up
Oh,
here?
I've been in the video game industry for years, actually. So I started, oh man, a long time ago. I started at this augmented reality video game company. It was right before Pokemon Go. It's called Kazulu Games. It was a lot of fun. And then after that, like I planned their whole E3 and did like brand management for that. Then after that, I worked for a company called Hyperkin, which is a third-party retro video game and modern hardware developer. So I did marketing for them for like quite a few years. And actually, right before the pandemic, I had applied to Yacht Club Games. And yeah, they hired me, and then the world shut down, and I've been here ever since.
Oh, and how's it been at working at Yacht Club?
It's been fantastic. It's so fun to work with my coworkers. They're all really enjoyable people, and they're really funny. And like, I was a fan of Shovel Knight prior to working at the company, so it was really cool. Like in my interview, they're like, "Have you played Shovel Knight before?" And I'm like, "Well," I tried acting cool because I was like geeking out. I'm like, "Yeah, I've dabbled with Shovel Justice in the past." But yeah, it's great. It's a very enjoyable experience so far.
That is always good to hear. And how have you been adjusting to the COVID world, let's say, in terms of marketing? Like how has that changed the nature of what you do?
It's all in line. So I think COVID's affected everyone in different ways. Like obviously there's no in-person events anymore, or well, they're starting again. But like conventions were a big part of like my marketing prior to Yacht Club Games. And since that was factored out, it was mainly focused on traditional and digital marketing. So, through social media, through traditional, doing interviews and getting the word out on online. But I feel like as a whole, marketing in general has turned towards the digital age. It's been like that for years now. So it wasn't too much of a shift minus conventions and
No,
delays because, everything's delayed from people just being at home and, existing.
right. Unless that was set up before the COVID, which that has transpired. Like we had a guest, what, last week, 2 weeks ago, like who mentioned that that they didn't really have an impact because they were already doing the virtual studio thing. Like, But yeah, if you're shifting from in person to virtual, there was definitely an impact, to say the least. Like,
Yeah. Luckily for us, the team was really prepared on going digital. So like when going remote for everyone, they were able to get everyone set up, and we were really lucky for that. So it wasn't too bad, but everyone was affected by the pandemic, like regardless of, studio.
right. And I guess shifting into the actual slate of things to talk about. First up here is Cyber Shadow, which
Yeah.
we have on screen. So this is an interesting release as it's Yacht Club Games' second published game, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And I suppose the first question I have in that regard is what preceded Yacht Club to get into publishing as well as pure development?
Something that was really interesting to us, because like at Yacht Club Games, like our company philosophy isn't just that we want to make games that you enjoy, but we want to create and be a part of games that make you love gaming. Like, how you asked me earlier in the conversation, like what got me into gaming, and I have a big story about Mario 64. We want to have that experience for future generations as well as the current people that love gaming in general, and solidifying that. So for publishing, it's something that was always like on the horizon for us. It's something we were interested in, but we're not focused in like quantity over quality. So when we ran into Cyber Shadow and we saw the 8-bit fun that Arne, aka Mecha Skull, was having, we just had to be a part of it.
Okay. And how did Yacht Club come across Cyber Shadow?
Twitter, actually. My colleague Sandy was hanging out on gaming Twitter and looking at all the cool things. And Arne had posted some GIFs about Cyber Shadows, like currently in development. He's like coming soon. And Sandy was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Not like he wasn't looking at it as a title that we'd want to publish, but as a game he'd want to play. So he shared it with the team and they were like, oh, this is awesome. So they all decided to reach out to him and see what was going on.
I'm like, and it seemed that went well, given, Yacht Club picked it up.
Yeah, the conversation went well. It was actually kind of funny because initially when we reached out to Arne, he said no. And we were like, oh, okay. Well, we can't wait to play your game. And then like after time of just kind of keeping a relationship with us and learning more about what we are as publishers, and like what our philosophy is with publishing, he was like, oh, like you guys want to help like market my game and like help give advice from your collective pool of experience. It's not like we're shifting his game into what our vision is, but just helping polish what his is. And once he found out that, he was like, yeah, okay, I want to work with you guys. And yeah, it worked out well.
That's definitely a conversation I see, not just on this program, but out in the wild every now and again about the role of publishers and developers, and how much they actually help. Like, and it's a thorny and complicated issue, let's say. And it's always good when a company can do actual good for a product as opposed to taking some off the top and letting it get rotten on the vine, let's say. So and did God Club offer any input on Cyber Shadow, or was it just purely we'll release the game kind of deal?
Oh, we put in a lot of, I guess, like advice and details into Cyber Shadow. So keep in mind, this game is created by Arne. It is his child. It is his baby, and we just helped him raise it a little bit and teach it a few things. And so, like, we would go through the levels and give him level feedback and share our collective pool of information and knowledge of, great ways to tweak certain game mechanics to make them really shine. So we did that with him. And we also coordinated the release, went through lot check for him, made sure all the marketing, it was on the platforms, like all the good stuff. So yeah, we put in a lot of work. But Arne made it really well.
I mean, I've heard really good things about Cyber Shadow. I haven't had the opportunity to pick it up myself. It's like there's always games to buy, games to play, and all that stuff.
It still
Yeah.
looks very Ninja Gaiden-y, in a good way. Not in a exactly like Ninja Gaiden, but in a evocative of mostly
Yeah.
it being a ninja platformer, I guess.
I would say, yeah, it's like a love letter to the NES.
Yeah, or you could make the argument of like the Genesis, like one of the Shinobi games. Like there were quite a few ninja games back in the old days.
Oh yeah, Ninja was a whole industry back in the 90s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah, it was, and it wasn't just like because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like
No,
from
they
what
were, if anything, a symptom of it.
yeah, I mean, well, the whole ninja aspect of that was a takeoff of Daredevil.
Right.
The hand. But, anyway, yeah. So for those who might not know what Cyber Shadow is exactly beyond ninja platformer, what's going on here? Who are you? What are you doing? And all that stuff.
Yeah, so Cyber Shadow, it was developed by Mecha Skull, aka Arne Hunziker, and he is a one-man studio. His studio is called Mechanical Head Games. He's amazing, and it was published by Yacht Club Games. Us, hi. And Cyber Shadow is a 2D ninja action game filled with all like the 8-bit nostalgic goodies, but with modern conveniences like checkpoints, so you don't die and just start from the beginning again and play it a lot.
But that means you don't have to. That means you don't have to get good, TM.
To be fair,
You still have to get good. You just don't have to do everything perfect at the same time.
Checkpoints were a thing back in the day. Like Ninja Gaiden had checkpoints.
They were inconsistently applied, let's say.
I know that whole level 6 thing was a pile of bullshit and chips. Always was, always will be. But anyway, so what other modern conveniences would one find in Cyber Shadow?
Okay, so there's a couple things. Like, I don't want to spoil the game too much for you, but there is a dash move that helps you fly across the screen, and it's really awesome for speedrunners. Speaking of speedrunners, the way that we developed it was we had speedrunners in mind back in the day. And I don't want this to be like a side-by-side comparison of like, oh, this is why this is better and this sucks or whatever. But back in the day, speedrunning wasn't as conventional as it was now. I don't even know when speedrunning, the term, was coined. But so back in the day, it wasn't as accounted for. Speedrunners had to come up with their own ways to speedrun for it. But when Arne was developing the game, he had it in mind of making sure that platforms weren't too slow, so people could time things correctly, where the average player as well as the speedrunner player would have an organic experience when playing the game.
Right.
So that's just another one to throw in there.
Right. I mean, speedrunning got started post Super Metroid. That's really the game, as I understand it, that brought the whole scene.
Well, the Metroid games were some of the earlier, aside from score-wise, some of the earlier games to have a tangible, quote-unquote, reward for in-game for doing it fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Super Metroid that I see that the one sided that brought this thing to a new level, though. Like, I'm not saying it didn't exist before. I'm just saying this was like the catalyst for modern day speedrunning as we know it. And yeah, it's like speedrunning wasn't considered because that's not really how games worked back in the day.
Yeah.
Like no. Like that was like the last thing a publisher or developer wanted, being able to complete your game quickly. In fact, there are some examples I can cite, like The Lion King for 16-bit platformers. No, seriously, they intentionally made the second level, let's say, bad in terms of like randomization, in order to make sure that people didn't complete it over rental weekend.
Yeah, that's a thing that some people did, made their games really hard, so you had to actually buy the game.
And to tie it to Ninja Gaiden, another trick that they did was make the games really, really hard. So you didn't blow through it in a weekend. You had to spend months upon months learning all of the maneuvers and all of the patterns in order. That's what they meant by getting good. Just rote memorization.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, quite like, its merits are still debated to this day. And I suppose relating back to Cyber Shadow here, how difficult is this game in comparison to something old school like Ninja Gaiden?
So, we don't like to call Cyber Shadow difficult. We like to acknowledge that it does have a challenge to it, but it is fair. But if we're going to compare it side by side, I don't know. I had a similar difficulty with both those games when playing them. So, yeah. There's a challenge aspect to it that is very reminiscent to the 8-bit era of gaming.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That would be expected given the, let's say, level of homage on display.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if I played Cyber Shadow and it was a breeze. Because just because, since it is such an homage, imagine it being that easy. No.
Well, it's also, I know, accessibility is been a topic of debate within the industry. See Psychonauts 2's accessibility options, for example. That game actually has an invincibility mode, so if people want to, they can actually complete the game if they're not good at it. But perhaps that is an extreme example. I'm just saying that's kind of where things lie today versus back in the day. Back in the day, you would never hear anyone make the game easier so more people could experience it. Even recently, that's not a thing that would happen. Anyway,
it's very recently you start seeing things with even games that are supposed to be hard, like Celeste having assist modes for people who wanna experience the story but don't have great reflexes or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so the game came out in January, if I recall.
Yep, January 26th.
And it's about 9-10 months on the market. How has it been faring, sales wise?
It's been doing pretty well, pretty consistent. Yeah, and we've had pretty positive response to it. So we're happy. Arne's happy too. He's having a nice long rest.
I mean, that is good to hear. Has this game been released physically yet?
No, it has not. Currently, a physical release is not in the pipeline. But if we ever go down that route, I'll be sure to announce it on our social media pages and website. So, yeah, I would say stay tuned. If we end up going that route, we'll tell you. I'll make a lot of noise about it, I promise.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. I mean, if you were to go down that route, would you do it would you do it yourselves, or would you partner with, say, Limited Run Games, for example, to do it?
I'm not sure. There's so many options and so many there's so many routes that we could go. Doing ourselves sounds cool. Also working with Limited Run would be really cool. There's also a ton of other people that would be able to make it and be awesome. There's so many routes that I can't confirm a hypothetical, but I would love to see a physical. That'd be awesome. I'm a physical type person with game collecting. I have a pretty big game collection myself, so it's kind of those things where if I can get it physical, I'll buy it, even if I've played it and owned it digital. So I'm right there along with you. If we ever decide, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I mean, my preference for physical is, actually not Limited Run Games, mainly because of that limited run part. I know it's not all of their releases, but it's if you miss out, you miss out. And I know that's not tenable for everything. It's just it's one of those things. But
it's not great, but because of that, they're able to do them for lots of games that would get nothing at all otherwise.
Yeah,
at least that's the idea.
Yeah. It's it's a give and take, as so many things are.
Plus, sometimes they have really nuts stuff in their collector's editions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're so skilled. I'm just saying this as a fan. I really do enjoy limited run, and though I see like your point about like, oh, like it sucks it's so limited. Like there's things that consumers don't take into account, like minimum quantity orders. If they
Yeah.
ordered so much that they would have to store it in their warehouse and it's not a moving item, then they're paying for it to be there, and then that's a case for like future releases. So like there's a lot that goes into it that we don't think about. And being able to have them do so many releases and like even unique and very like niche ones as well, it's amazing. So I appreciate them.
Yeah. I mean, they've certainly been successful, because as you mentioned, they're not the only ones who do this. Like, there's super rare games and Sedesco and whole merge games, just a whole cottage industry of physical, which is actually a nice change of pace from 10 years ago, let's say. Like, anyway, as much as I would love to talk more about Cyber Shadow, we do have other games to talk about and a limited amount of time. So it's probably best to move on to the future. And we've got two games to talk about. And yes, these are actually two different games. I did have to clarify that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the first was Shovel Knight Dig. For those who might not know, what is Shovel Knight Dig?
So Shovel Knight Dig is a all new adventure that we're actually co-developing alongside Nitrome. We actually announced this in 2019, so it's well in development right now. But it's a brand new adventure with new characters like Drill Knight and his dastardly digging crew. So basically what happens in the story that we revealed in the trailer is that Shovel Knight's hanging out at his peaceful, iconic campsite, and Dig Knight, Dig Knight, Drill Knight steals his loot and goes on a digging adventure. So basically, Shovel Knight has to go chase after him, and the game's really cool. There's a bunch of unique levels to it. I can't say too much because we haven't revealed it yet, but it's procedurally generated levels, and you're actually digging in the game. It's actually a first Shovel Knight game where you dig. We're really excited to share more about it, but it's great, and it's in an all new direction because you're going down instead of the usual platform left to right.
It's from what I've seen, it reminds me a lot of the SteamWorld games. I don't know if you've ever played any of those.
Personally familiar, but I'll definitely check it out. That sounds cool.
And let's see, I suppose a question that comes to mind, not just with Shovel Knight Dig, but the also Shovel Knight Pocket Edition is why Shovel Knight spin-offs?
So
was there was there any consideration to like doing a completely new game, or like did you feel that there was more life in the Shovel Knight character to bring to the screen, so to speak?
So we plan on making Shovel Knight games forever and ever, and we've always imagined Shovel Knight as an all-encompassing franchise. So these two games are Shovel Knight taking the next step into the next gameplay dimension. So yeah, I guess that's why.
And this may sound like a weird question at first, but you mentioned that this is the first time Shovel Knight is actually using his shovel for shoveling, and I'm just wondering how that idea came about. Like,
at least for digging, you did sort of digging deep. You did kind of shovel up dirt piles and stuff.
But you're shoveling up. You're not like digging down. So for that, so I actually wasn't in the writer room for that. So I will get back to you on that answer. But I would have just say my hypothetical one. Wouldn't it be funny if Shovel Knight actually dug in a game? Whoa, let's do it, Nitro.
I mean, it is yeah. Like, anyway, so what platforms is Shovel Knight Dig coming to?
We haven't confirmed them yet, so I would say stay tuned for our next announcement.
Okay, because I've seen conflicting things here.
So you have not already decided that it's completely exclusive to, for example, the N-Gage.
So
that's a joke.
Yeah, the N-Gage is not a thing that is alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but we haven't confirmed it. So even if the N-Gage did exist, I still couldn't confirm it for you.
It existed. It just that was a console handheld thing that came out in like what 2003, 2004.
Something like that.
Why does that sound familiar? Hold on.
It was the phone that played video games and was terrible at both.
N-Gage! Ah, I remember this. Oh my god, why?
And everything just clicks.
I always confuse the N-Gage for the Wonder Swan. So that's so
we
funny.
didn't get the Wonder Swan over here.
I know, boo. I wanted to play Princess Maker too. Oh well, say lovey.
I wanted to play all those Digimon games.
Oh god. I didn't realize that Digimon games were on the Wonder Swan.
Well,
but
it was Bandai's console, so Bandai put the Bandai Digimon games on their console.
I want to have to look into it. Now you're adding to my backlog.
Sorry.
I don't think your English translated though, so brush up on your Japanese.
Oh, well, you know.
I mean, it's kind of what we do on this show. We are a video game program, so we do the deep cuts about video games. Like, believe me. Anyway, in terms of the developer Nitrome, as you pronounced it, what is their past work? What have they developed, and what's attracted Yacht Club to have this developer work on one of the Shovel Knight projects?
So they've worked on a bunch of games. I'm blanking on my head. I think they made Bomb Chicken, and they've made a bunch of really cool games. We have a close relationship with them already. Like, they're mutual friends, the studio. So when it came time to be interested in working together on a project, it just made sense.
Okay. Like,
yeah.
Not the... sometimes the stories are fairly logical. And
it wasn't like we made a blood pact and we were like, okay, it's time that we're brothers now. Yeah, no, it was pretty simple.
There's some people who would say some of their publishing arrangements were that, but that's neither here nor there.
Not in the good way, though.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm like I said, it's not a thing to get into right now, or really ever. Anyway, and so it's a bit hard to talk about this game since so little is known about it. And I suppose the question I will ask at this point is, can you say when people might learn more about Dig, or is it going to be close or far?
So my answer for this one is Shovel Knight Dig is currently in development right now. What I can tell you, it's going great. When I have more information about this and when we can make announcements, I will definitely announce it on our social media pages and website. Stay tuned. Okay, there's my answer. Just made that up right now.
Marketing mode off.
There we go. Okay, yeah, what? There we go.
Well, I mean, it's actually good when people have, that kind of answer, because breaking NDAs is not a thing we want on this program.
Yeah, of course. Don't worry, I wouldn't.
Never again.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Once again, don't really want to get into it.
Okay.
Anyway, so shifting over to the more recently announced project, Shovel Knight Pocket Edition.
Pocket Dungeon, actually.
There we go, Pocket Dungeon.
There you go.
Which implies that it's going to be something for the Nintendo Switch? Is it going to be, or is it mobile?
So it's for Nintendo Switch. It would also be coming out on PlayStation 4 and PC.
Huh. So why is it called Pocket Dungeon then?
Because you're delving into a small Pocket Dungeon type box. So it's like this little miniature world where everything is characterized, and it's a world of falling block puzzles. So everything's small and cute.
That is an interesting response. Like usually when people have the pocket thing, it's handhelds or mobile or whatever. Like
That said, this is not a universe where, like, oh, hey, here, I have a dungeon in my pocket, want to go explore it, would actually be a thing to do and not innuendo.
true enough. Like
Look, Shovel
and
Knight's world is weird.
well, and it's just getting weirder as he's expanding his genres. Because now he's in a falling block game.
Yeah, well,
Like
it's not just a falling block game. It's a hybrid actually. So it combined everything that we enjoy about falling block puzzles along
Mhm.
with dungeon crawling. It's like a really fun mashup.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a better mashup than say Wario's Woods. Like,
How dare you? I love Wario.
like what is? I'm like, it's just a game that came to mind. I don't know. I was never a fan of it, but
It's okay.
um,
I'll only judge you a little bit. Continue.
like anyway, was there a particular reason to have Shovel Knight deal with falling blocks other than it's an unexplored genre, or was that the reason?
So, have you watched some of the trailers for the game?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so for it, it's not just like falling blocks; it's falling monsters, and you're basically chaining attacks. And it comes into like type of like kind of like block puzzle elements to it, but at its heart, it's also a roguelite type of adventure. So you're like going around, you're moving around the board, the monsters, time works faster. So the faster you walk, the faster the monsters are. And it's such a mashup to it that I wouldn't say there was a particular reason where we're like, oh, like we want falling block puzzles. It was more of like when we had found Vine. Russell, he's super talented. His whole team, everyone's amazing. But anyways, we saw what he was developing, and we're like, hey, we want to be a part of this. And we started coordinating with him since he had invented this type of mashup. Um, so it just kind of like naturally fit together like a puzzle piece. So I guess in short or long, that's my answer.
Okay.
And I
We
see
didn't
at
wake
least
up,
one.
yeah.
I see at least one interesting thing where you have like the gold armors that you have to attack from a certain direction. It looks like to clear them.
Yeah, so every monster, just about besides Betos, poor Betos, has like a certain ability that you need to strategize with. So, yeah, as you get further into the pocket dungeon, there's a whole lot of strategy that you need to add along to it besides just making the chains. And yeah, gold armor is one of them. Yeah, whatever direction you're hitting them, they bring their shield up, so you have to attack them from a different angle.
That is.
Which is a pretty good way of integrating how they worked in the other games.
Yeah. Like, and is there a multiplayer mode for Pocket Dungeon here?
There is a versus mode.
But what I expected, given the popularity of that kind of mode in these kind of games.
Now,
Like,
does that have each person on their own thingy, or does it have two people on the same field?
They have their own field, so it's like two-player competitive. So you're focusing on your field and they're focusing on theirs.
Okay,
But
and it like drops attack blocks or whatever on the other thing when you do things.
maybe we haven't announced too many facts about versus mode.
Okay,
But
then
stay tuned.
I won't press you too much, but in similar games to this that are puzzle based, the way they do interaction in versus modes is to, when you do a thing, have it do something on the opponent's side.
But there may or may not be a. I cannot confirm anything, but there may or may not be a bomb cannon. Anyways, moving on.
yeah. Oh, so what modes have you confirmed for Pocket Dungeon?
Oh yeah, we've confirmed. Like you literally can go to like Nintendo Switch's, the page for it, and it lets you know like there's story mode, which is the main adventure. There's two-player competitive versus mode, which we just talked about. There's a daily challenge, and like there's just a bunch of fun little activities you can do in game as well.
Okay. And what is there a storyline going on in this game?
Yes, there is. So Shovel Knight picks up this little puzzle box and gets sucked into the pocket dungeon, and he gets picked up by Puzzle Knight and Chester, and basically they're your guides. Mainly Puzzle Knight on this one. He's your guide through the pocket dungeon as you try to escape.
And well, my next question would be like, how many levels is that? But I'm not sure if that is a thing that can be talked about right now.
We haven't like announced how many levels as of yet, but you can take control. What I can give you is that you can take control of more than 10 of your favorite heroes from the Shovel Knight universe. So, there you go.
Wow,
But the
there's
thing
more
is,
than 10
though,
heroes in the Shovel Knight universe?
yeah, whoa. When we say heroes, we also mean, it's your friends, familiar friends and
Okay.
foes,
Yeah, that was mostly it. Wow, a lot of the Order of the No Quarter are kind of jerks. I don't know if I'd qualify them.
in their own right,
Right. Like, well, once again, it's kind of hard to talk details about these games, given that they are still so shrouded. So
Mhm.
once again, I'll ask, when can people expect more details on Pocket Dungeon?
So we're going to be consistently releasing little fun facts about Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon until its release. That's coming up this winter, so it's coming up soon. And yeah, so if you check our social media pages and website, we're going to be sharing so much more information as we progress closer to the game's release.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but it's so fun. Like, I can't tell you too much, but like I've been recording a lot of the content that we share obviously on our social media pages and website, and it is so addictive. It's like it just hits all the right spots in your brain, all the serotonin.
I mean, we have generally enjoyed the Shovel Knight games, or the game and its expansions. So I think we're all looking forward to these spin-offs.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can have you back on the program. When either Pocket Dungeon and or Dig are ready to be talked about in more detail.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, reach out like around the release time and I'll be able to reveal so much more information. Yeah, I appreciate the early invite, but I was like, I was like thinking, I'm like, what can I talk about and like tell you? So I hope you were satisfied.
It's understandable. Like, things haven't been revealed yet, and since they haven't been revealed yet, they can't be talked about. It's a thing that's come up on this program before. And we've really reached up against the, let's say, limits of NDA. So I'll see if my colleagues here have any further questions for you, and we'll leave it here for the time being.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think I asked most of my things.
All right. So yeah, Celia, it was wonderful talking with you. Sorry about the mess up with your name in the emails. Like my
Totally
autocorrect.
fine.
Well, it's like I was kind of using my phone, and my autocorrect kind of did that. Like, anyway.
It happens. It's just one of those things where there's nothing worse than you're live, cameras are on, or the voice recording's on, and it's like, and then they say your name instead of Adam, like Denny's on, and you're like, no, now I have to pretend to be this person for the rest of it. So it's always good to clarify, but no, thank you. It's totally fine.
That is me trying to pronounce some of our foreign guests' names. Like,
it's good to practice always prior, so they feel the most comfortable.
yeah. Anyway, so the games are Cyber Shadow, which is currently out on all the major platforms.
Yep, it is available on Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and 5, Steam, and Game Pass, Windows 10, Humble Bundle, GOG. Literally anything and everything you can get your hands on.
Ooh, I do have a question there. Any plans for the Epic Games Store?
That would be really cool. We'd have to have a conversation about it with Epic. And so if that platform option is ever on the horizon, we'll be sure to announce it on our social media pages and website. Stay tuned for any updates about that. There you go.
Fair enough. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, and the future games are Shovel Knight Dig coming to platforms TBA, and Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon coming to the PC, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. Like,
Yeah.
No Xbox there?
Not currently. If we ever add to our platform roster, we'll be sure to announce it.
Okay. Right. So be sure to wish list those games where you can, and Petty, play us to the next segment.
Okay, do I go?
You can if you want to.
What are we going to talk about next?
Monkey Ball.
Okay, so I'm so hungry. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I love talking about Monkey Ball too. Okay, next time. Okay, thank you so much for having me. Have a great rest of your podcast. It was great. And if you guys want some more Cyber Shadow keys, let me know. I can give media keys to you guys. Okay.
Yeah, we could do with 2 more codes.
Yeah,
Like
that's totally fine.
Okay.
Okay. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy.
You too.
Bye.
All right. So did the music play?
Yeah.
All right. She didn't talk over it, did she?
No, it was done.
Okay. Anyway, so welcome to the topic of discussion. This week we are talking about Monkey Ball, or as it's more well known, Super Monkey Ball. But I will note that the franchise actually did start with a game just called Monkey Ball. That was the arcade release, which you're probably just learning about. Like, nobody really talks about the arcade game. Like, I'm not even sure if it came out in North America. I mean, I could say I'd never seen it at the arcade, but there were a lot of arcade games I never saw at the arcade. Though there are some arcade games that I have seen that you wouldn't expect, like Sonic the Fighters. Granted, that was at a Sega GameWorks, so that kind of worked out logically. Anyway, so yeah, most people's first experience with Super Monkey Ball would have been the GameCube games. Indeed, that's still the barometer by which this franchise is measured. Those first 2 games,
as in, are you as good as?
Yes. Is this Monkey Ball game as good as those Monkey Ball games? And the answer is, unfortunately, usually no, they're not. And that kind of ties into the present day. But we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I will preface this by saying I've never actually played a Super Monkey Ball game before. Most of it was just never bought the games, And once again, there are games that even popular or beloved games that people miss for one reason or another. It's can't play everything. But Monkey Ball has been praised for its not just main game, let's say, which is the premise of you're a monkey stuck in a ball, let's go collect branded bananas.
And also potentially try to rescue other monkeys.
Right. And apparently they changed brands throughout the series. They used to be Dole bananas, but they switched over to Chiquita. Not sure if they're still doing that.
I know now the bananas are unbranded.
Yes, the companies that literally put banana in Banana Republic.
You're not kidding.
No, I'm not. I'm being dead serious. Dole and Chiquita supported coups and rebels and all the way up to the 90s.
But the bananas are so dang tasty and convenient, it's almost worth ignoring the fact that they're grown in really weird ways involving clippings, and the actual fruits are not actually able to grow other bananas from them and stuff. But
Well, that's just the variety of banana we use here. There's a lot of fucking bananas out there that aren't those bananas.
Yeah, although a lot of them have been bred to not actually have growable seeds in the fruit.
I'm just saying
they used to be, the fruit used to be about 80% seed.
What I'm saying is I'm not talking about the basically the GMOs we use. I'm talking about the bananas that are maybe used locally down in South America.
Oh no, yeah, I know that. I'm just saying they've been grown from cuttings mostly since way longer than the GMO stuff.
Right. Because bananas are one of the most tampered fruits tampered things we have. But we are getting sidetracked here.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's well enough. It's just us now, so we can go on the occasional side tangent. But we do have to keep our pacing somewhat. Anyway, yeah. So Super Monkey Ball is known for that, but starting with the GameCube original, it's also been known for its mini games. Some more than others, because like the, let's say, plutonium standard of Super Monkey Ball mini games is monkey targets. Like that is the mode that people swear by, even more so than the main mode. Like there are actually a lot of stories about people playing Super Monkey Ball for Monkey Target and just for Monkey Target. It's that addictive and well made. Once again, haven't personally experienced it, and there's also a problem in regards to the modern day, but we'll get there once again when we get there. Like, but not the only beloved mode. You also got like monkey billiards, monkey bowling, a whole bunch of monkey-fied mini games. Before the Nintendo Wii drove that concept into the ground and then some.
And then something about stepping on its corpse.
Oh, you're not like I don't. I think they ground the corpse into dust. Quite frankly,
and may or may not have snorted it like a mummy.
Do you know how many fucking minigame compilations are on the Wii?
Oh, I am aware. I am horribly aware.
Yeah. Yeah. Too many to fucking count. That's the answer. Yeah. But yeah, Super Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball 2, generally considered to be the high point of the franchise, which is kind of harrowing to say, because these were the, let's just say for all intents and purposes, the first two games. Like, so basically there's nowhere to go but down. It's more a question of how far down did we go? And yeah, there are varying answers to that. I'm like, in the immediate vicinity of the first two Super Monkey Ball games, we have the first handheld edition, Super Monkey Ball Jr. Like, from what I understand, it wasn't really good. In fact, that seemed to be a complaint about Monkey Ball games on handheld devices pretty consistently. But especially as they fell more into the gimmick range, and that kind of
surprisingly they never. Well, I guess it's largely because it was a third party, so they didn't get the have all of Nintendo's access to the super super unusual cartridges. But a Monkey Ball Tilt and Tumble on the Game Boy would have been, or Game Boy Advance or Color would have been interesting.
Probably, but that would have had other problems. As I understand it, like the Nintendo's game, there was something going on with their accelerometer cartridges, because WarioWare Twisted never came out in Europe.
Huh.
Yeah, it never came out. And it's suspected that they used mercury in that thing. Never confirmed, but this is just what the speculation was. So, and yeah, like Nintendo barely used that particular thing, which is pretty on brand for Nintendo. Let's be honest here. But after Super Monkey Ball Jr., Super Monkey Ball Deluxe came out. That was the PlayStation 2 and Xbox port of the first two Monkey Ball games, with some additional levels added on. Also relevant to the modern day. basically, this is the Super Monkey Ball dynasty that people want to acknowledge. Like, because then it starts going down off of a fucking cliff. Because we get Super Monkey Ball Touch and Roll, our first real gimmick release. It came out in
Touchscreen based for the DS, or
Yep, it came out in 2005. So that was when like everyone was really, really fucking pushing the DS touchscreens.
if you want the boss to stay dead, you better draw the magical sigil that I hope you remember.
And that's probably why the DS games didn't make it over to the Advanced Collection. But yeah, it was basically, move the monkey with the stylus on the touchscreen. Woo. Like, and we also got the Super Monkey Ball Adventure. This was, what if Monkey Ball plus 3D platformer? It equals a game nobody remembers or liked. That's really all I got to say about it. Anyway, the next real milestone for Monkey Ball was Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. This one you probably heard of. Indeed, it was another launch title for the Wii, and like I said, now we're really into the gimmick era of Super Monkey Ball. That's because it's less about making good levels, having interesting puzzle design, innovating on mini games. It's more about what control methods can we jam in here. Basically, what happened to Super Monkey Ball? What happened to WarioWare? Happened to Monkey? Weird to say, but it happened.
I did not know Monkey Ball had hang gliding.
That's Monkey Target.
Yep, that's Monkey Target. Like,
also, I question your aerodynamics. Aye.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Anyway, Banana Blitz was a game that was built around the Wii remote, as so many Wii games, especially around the launch period, were built. I'm like, and
so
it reviewed,
tilt it back and forth to.
Yeah, it reviewed well back in the day. One of the better examples of the Wii Motion's tilt controls. Really, one of the only decent uses of the tilt. As bad as the waggle could get, it had nothing on the tilt. Like,
they loved their tilt.
Not really, but
I know they did. I played Mario Galaxy.
Yeah. But anyway, Banana Blitz reviewed well back in the day, but this was actually the game selected to bring Monkey Ball back into the modern day. I'm presuming because it sold well. It moved a lot of copies, so people would remember this. The problem with Banana Blitz is it was built for a gimmicky control setup. It's not just a matter of having just having the control scheme in there and you're done. It wasn't Twilight Princess. Oh no. Since this game,
the mechanics are actually designed around it in such a way that you can't really port it.
No, it's level design is what I'm getting at. The levels had to be simplified in order to accommodate the much cludgier control. Because and this was noted when the game came back. Like the Banana Blitz got exposed big time when traditional controls were applied to it. It turns out, the level design isn't that good because it had to accommodate a gimmick. And not the only time this would fucking happen either. Once again, going down the list of Super Monkey Ball games, we get really the last time the Super Monkey Ball franchise had a moment in the sun I can really think about, and that's Super Monkey Ball for the iOS platform. The reason being, this was the very first game demonstrated in relation to the App Store. This is the game that fucking Steve Jobs played on the iPhone back in 2008. And I'm going to presume it did really well because, obviously they made another one of these. There's Super Monkey Ball 2 and Super Monkey Ball 2 Sakura Edition. I'm not sure if any of the mobile versions are still up.
I believe the Android version of the Sakura one is still up.
That's seeing 2018 for that, so that would jive. And there was also a couple of Monkey Ball games for the J2ME style of mobile phones. Those are the pre-smartphone phones. I'm doubting that they were any good. Maybe I'm wrong, but if Java mobile users want to defend it, I'd actually be interested to hear that. Because honestly, that's a corner of gaming that doesn't get talked about nearly enough or preserved. Anyway, the next major console release was, perhaps the apotheosis of Monkey Ball and gimmickry, because we got Super Monkey Ball Step and Roll. Let's apply the Wii balance board to Monkey Ball. Mind you, you don't have to have the balance board to play Super Monkey Ball Step and Roll. It will still use the old Wii remote control scheme, but it's in the name. It really was planned around having the balance board, and the level design to match that, because how.
In other words, if you play it with an actual analog controller or something, it's probably, once you get used to overcorrecting, it's probably fairly easy, because part of the challenge is supposed to be in how it controls.
Yeah. And I'll note that Step and Roll hasn't been selected yet to bring Monkey Ball, to bring this into the modern age. But I guess this would be the next one, because it's really it's the only traditional Monkey Ball game that was made for a console that hasn't been brought into modern platforms.
I can't wait till they make a Monkey Ball VR game.
They haven't made one of those yet. So that would
yet.
Well, that would be genuinely new.
What now? Okay, so let's brainstorm that a little bit. Monkey Ball VR. Are you in the ball?
Probably.
Or are you standing outside the whole stage, tilting it with your hands?
Why not both?
Because that's part of the gimmick of Monkey Ball normally, is that you're not actually moving the ball at all. You're moving the stage.
Whatever version gives you less motion sickness, I guess.
Probably the latter, but it would also be harder that way.
Yeah. Anyway,
nobody likes roll goal.
Yeah. Next Monkey Ball game is Super Monkey Ball Ticket Blitz. I know nothing about this. So Super Monkey Ball 3D and Super Monkey Ball Banana Splits, the Nintendo 3DS and PlayStation Vita games. From what I understand, it's more Monkey Ball. That they're better than the previous handheld iterations, but yeah, it's once again, you don't hear about these games too much because they are more Monkey Ball, but that's about it. And then you got Super Monkey Ball Bounce for the Android and iOS, like the last mobile Monkey Ball, and then the franchise just goes dormant for a while until Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD,
which is playing on screen.
Yeah, and this year we got Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. I guess in terms of the development team, it's actually got a strong continuity factor, because the original, back in the day, this game series was produced by a Sega branch called WoW Entertainment, which was reorganized, reshuffled in various capacities, and let's just say, a large chunk of the team that worked on Monkey Ball ended up becoming part of the Ryu Ga Goto studio.
Ryu Ga Gotoku. You can just say Yakuza. I guess there are reasons why they wouldn't want it to be called Yakuza Studios.
Well, here's the thing. That wasn't actually a formal name. That was just kind of what arose from what they were doing at the time.
Right. Well, no, that's the Japanese name of the series is Ryuga Gotoku.
Right. I'm just saying that wasn't planned to be the name of the studio until much later.
Right.
Like Ryuga Goto was founded much later in the around Yakuza 3, I think, or Yakuza 4. But yeah, not the only game series or game that they turned out over the years, but since 2019, they've been the stewards of the Super Monkey Ball franchise, which is interesting in its own right because remember, Sega is going through, let's say, a bout of outsourcing. Which we've had a surprising amount of coverage on this program. But this is one franchise that they decided to keep in-house and also keep close to the developer chest. I'm sure there's a lot of passion going on in terms of bringing these old Monkey Ball games to the modern age. But, so getting to Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, it's a compilation of all of the classic Monkey Ball. It's got all the Monkey Ball 1, Monkey Ball 2, and Monkey Ball Deluxe levels. Plus, it's brought back a number of the iconic mini-games. The problem is physics. So, yeah, this game has not garnered a good reputation among the Super Monkey Ball diehards, particularly those who really love the monkey target portion. Apparently, it has to do with the particulars of how Unity handles its physics versus whatever custom job they used back in the day. And I'm not sure if they would have ever been able to play the physics 1-to-1. I don't know. I get the frustration, but Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania isn't a remake or isn't a remastering. It's a remake. It's a full on. They remade this game in a new engine, and they applied new physics to it. We have seen examples of a old game brought into a new engine, but you kept a lot of stuff from the early 2000s. We're going to use SpongeBob. Anyway, but outside of that, Banana Mania seems to be reviewing well enough. I do plan on picking it up at some point. That is our journey.
Controversy.
Yeah, the DLC, that's another controversy. Here's what I have to say about it. You don't have to buy $5 if you don't want to. I'm like, not all the character, like Beat isn't DLC, the Yakuza guy isn't DLC, Sonic and Tails are not DLC. I will say, yeah, some of the cosmetics are DLC. I'm like, I gotta say, just having a controversy over DLC feels so quaint in this era of loot boxes and microtransactions and battle passes. Now, it feels very horse armory in its complaints. And yeah, there is an effect here, but it's like we are so far past this being a problem. It's it's almost amusing. It's obviously a fucking problem, but it's a problem people have just grown used to. It's a controversy, but it's a minor one, if I'm being honest. Like, people grumbled, they moved on. No fire and brimstone here, which is a decidedly different prospect than from 2006, let's say. Like I said, it's just where the world moved and what got supported. That's another thing. Outcries can be outsized. it's like, and I understand that, when it comes to Skinner box mechanics, there's some psychological manipulation going on. But, in terms of like just regular old DLC, I think at this point, people like the idea. Anyway, so I think that's about it for Super Monkey Ball. And indeed, that's about it for this installment of Fragments of Silicon. As mentioned, there's no Friday show. There will be a new episode of The Last News Desk on the left in about 15 minutes. And let me see, coming up on the Sunday reviews, as soon as I scroll down to the proper I will say, since I got my laptop fixed, we will be back to the 4 review structure. So coming up on Sunday, we'll be having impressions of Goodnight. No one of these games said, "Oh, we are releasing." It turns out it's an early access release, and I can't get out of it. Goodnight is really, really hard to describe, if I'm being honest. It's a game I haven't really encountered. It's this one-button bullet hell puzzle game. Like, I'm probably gonna have to show my colleagues here some footage of it because it's really hard to get your mind wrapped around. Not so much when you actually play it. Like, it makes sense when you play it. Also, its descriptor is a lie. It is not one button. It is 2 button because there's another button for slowing down time. We got Pile Up for the PlayStation 4, which is a puzzle game, if I'm remembering correctly. One-Eyed Lee and the Dinner Party, which sounds like a filthy visual novel, but isn't. It's actually a wholesome puzzle, like mini-game puzzle thing. And we got 200 Ways, which is a, let's say, marble building simulation, kind of. That is to say, you have a marble, you roll it to the end, but what you do is you put various things in front of the marble in order to make sure it goes to the goal. Like you put on a boost pad or a spring, and it's done in the style of like a PC sim. Like, really interesting hybrid. Like, anyway, so that's what's on tap for the rest of the week. And until a few minutes from now, I shall wish you good gaming.